I like the new arrangement.
You like it?
Yeah.
Looks better too on the screen, huh?
Yeah, we're not looking at my nose.
I know.
You're not screaming.
Seriously.
Right.
People think we don't have a sense of
We're trying.
Okay, I'm gonna call the Central Board of Architectural Review, November 3rd hearing to order. Are there any members of the public who wish to address the board regarding an item that is not on today's agenda?
We're not seeing anybody in the public. If you are online and wish to speak on this item, please raise your hand. Not seeing anybody raising their hand, we have no public comment.
Okay, agenda status report.
We have no changes to the agenda.
Okay. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Unless, okay, so is there any further discussion? Does anybody have anything?
No.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstaining.
Okay. CBAR informational briefings? Anybody have anything?
Did everybody get the memo from P&G about working on improvements to the process?
Which process?
The the general planning process.
No, I don't think I got that one.
Yeah.
I think it would be all forwarded to all of you, and I think it would be good to include input from CBAR members in terms of our perspective of what things might be able to be streamlined or improved.
What document did you get or email?
It was in response to the number of complaints that have been lodged recently about how lengthy or difficult the permitting process has become.
You got it, Bethany didn't.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I don't think I got it.
No, that's probably because I've been squeaky,
But
but that's why I'm bringing it up, because I do think
Yes,
that
I'm on.
it is very pertinent
You wanna-
to all
Yeah.
members.
whoever sent it to you, asked them to send it to all of us. and then
Yeah.
That would be
Put it
great.
on the agenda if you want.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be great.
Anything else? Okay. Member recusals, do we have any for today?
No,
Nicole, do you have a staff update?
Yes, I have a few items for you, some of which I mentioned before, but so coming up on November 7th, next week at the Board of Supervisors, they're going to be looking at some updates to 8 accessory dwelling unit regulations in our ordinances, so that might be of interest. That's to bring it more into conformance with changes in state law. And then on November 8th at the County Planning Commission, there'll be a housing element update. And then on November 29th at the Planning Commission, there'll be a hearing to hear the agricultural enterprise ordinance. And that's all I have.
when is the Ag Enterprise? What date?
November 29th?
Oh, okay.
Yes, November 29th.
And where are those generally held? Or is it online? Online?
I believe that there was some work being done to the Planning Commission hearing room, but as of yesterday, I think it's back open. So if you want to attend in person, I believe it would be at the Planning Commission hearing room. I think you could also provide comment remotely and watch it remotely as well. The board hearing, I would say check the agenda. There was I think it might be at the North County board offices.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be in the Santa Barbara next Wednesday. The Santa Barbara.
Oh, it is? Okay.
No, the housing
Is the
element,
board,
in Santa Barbara, the 29th.
Oh, that's gonna be in Santa Barbara, the one in Santa Maria is gonna be under renovation, so.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So now they're renovating the Santa Maria room too.
okay.
Okay, thanks, Nicole. Okay, item number 1, 22 Bar 93 Rancho Lee Boarding and Training Facility. And I know we got a lot of people online, so we'll do, I'm sure this is old hat, we're gonna do the presentation, let the applicant do the presentation after I read the minutes. In the last hearing. We'll do questions, public comment, and then, we'll move into deliberation. So the comments for last time was that the C-Bar didn't have any issues with the architecture and the placement of the structures based on new story poles. Circulation plan that demonstrates circulation for pedestrian, equine, and vehicles is required. There are concerns with site circulation because of pinpoints and how trailers are going to be accommodated stored on the site. The template demonstrating circulation will be helpful to demonstrate functional geometry for trailer turnarounds, etc. The documentation of existing grade and proposed grade must be shown on elevations. Elevations need to respond to and reflect the actual grade. Need to see this next time. We'd like to see how stormwater will be handled on site, given the number of structures and complex circulation required to reach those structures. Return for further conceptual review. All right, so do we have someone here for that?
We do. I'm Pete Simmons with Urban Planning Concepts. With me as well as CJ Hortman with HBA Design Group. And CJ is the one that you guys have been dealing with in the past on this project. I've kind of been brought on board to help, and so I'm just here just to add any more comments or help CJ out as he proceeds to present the items that we've been discussing, the circulation, elevations, and stormwater. To get this.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I appreciate your guys' time reviewing this project today, making sure mic check. You guys can hear me okay?
Yep.
I can hear
Perfect.
you. Yep.
Great. Well, as Chair Cloud, you introduced, we're reviewing Rancho Luis, which is an equestrian boarding facility and private winery expansion facility as well. I'm CJ Horstman. I've been working with the applicant in this project over the last year, and we've been closely working with county staff, community members, and this committee. As you kind of reflected our last meeting, there were 5 remaining comments that we hope to address today, completing our conceptual review, and then return for preliminary review after the project is reviewed and approved by Planning Commission. So we submitted 2 documents. There's 3. One was 2 sets of plans. One is really flattened in case text got scrambled, and then a memo. So those will be the documents I'm referencing today. And first, I'd like to pull up that response memo, if we can, on the screen there. I think it's the tab that has no name on your, yeah, there you go, planner memo. That one.
Hey, to interlude, this is Jax. This planner memo is
Oh, that's
my
different.
memo, just reflecting your response document. So if you want to pull up the actual response document, Teresa, if you extend out the title text, it will say C-Bar XYZ response at the very end of it. It's one of the PDFs. Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Thanks, Jacqueline.
Mhm.
All right, so yeah, introduction here, like I talked about, and then hopefully you guys had a chance to review this memo. I kind of went item by item, pointing through the plans, but I'll take you through this today. So if you scroll down to the point where you can see the first comment on the screen there, keep on going. There we go. So yeah, I just want to pause here. Comment 1, not having an issue with architecture, placement of structures based on new story poles. Thank you guys for your effort you put in collaborating with you and staff and the neighbors to make this project better, I think, through this process so far. The second comment, circulation path that demonstrates circulation for pedestrian equine vehicles required. It concerns the site circulation because of pinch points and how the trailers are going to be accommodated on site. So if you can now pull up the plans and go to DP 2.4. Once you got that on screen. So since our last meeting, we put some effort into updating this plan to try to clarify how different types of circulation interact with the site, whether it's vehicles with trailers, the Kubota utility vehicles, horses or boarders. And if you're unfamiliar with the Kubota utility vehicle, you can just imagine a 4-wheel drive hardcore off-road golf course. That's what we're looking at there. Those are those guys. We've added the color coding overlay. So there's those hatch patterns in the cloud on the left side that are color coded to show existing trails and paths that are suitable for riding horses or the utility vehicles. There's also existing vehicular roads on the site that are in that middle hatch color. And then there's the proposed new driveway in the darker gray, which is on the south border of the site, down to which extends to the vineyard storage building at the southwest corner of the site. We also have, if you could, it's hard to see the entire key there. So if you could zoom out the plan to the extent of the plan, there we go. You can also see the different types of circulation shown as colorful dashed lines, demonstrating the extent to which each vehicle, human or animal, will circulate around the site. Wanted to note that the vehicular access for those who are boarding horses is pretty limited. That's that dark blue color. So you can see that there's an entry point both off of Ballard Canyon Road to the northwest, and then off of the private drive and cul-de-sac to the what would be the southeast. And the blue is basically, I hate to use the word, but public access to the site. So that's the extent to which we're going to have boarders coming on the site. The rest of the site has plenty of places for horses to roam and the utility golf carts to serve the different components of the site, as well as people to walk. So to address specific functional requirements, we have these 3 enlarged plan areas that have been put on the plans. Hopefully you had a chance to review those. If you could zoom in, and we tracked down kind of design standards from the United States Forest Service and used recommendations from Chapter 8 of the Equestrian Design Guidebook to show compliance with turning areas based on their recommendations in these 3 locations. So if you go to the first location, which is guest parking area A, you see that keyed on the overall plan. It's the first entry point off the cul-de-sac on the southeast side. Not that one. Keep going. Yep, that one. So zoom into that guest parking area A. Just the enlarged exhibit that's on the right side of the plan there. See the enlarged plan?
Oh, this one?
Yeah, the one that says A though. That one's C. There's B to the right, and there's A above and to the right.
That's right.
To the,
Yep.
is it this one?
All right. Yeah, it's that one where your cursor is now. Yep. So if you guys can see this clearly, I can just explain. This is kind of where those boarding horses will park vehicles and trailers. They're going to lead their horses by foot between, there's those paddocks to the west, and under that tractor storage loft, there's a walk-through beneath that loft over to the arena, which is down to that, either the arena, and there's pastures and trailheads down to the southwest, or also to the northwest, there's also pastures and riding trails, and that's up past the existing campagna. But we're showing clearly that a trailer can fully do a turnaround there without even doing a 3-point turn, which is nice. Trailers can back in. We're anticipating up to 3 trailers to be parked in some spaces, which are positioned away from the property line past the proposed tree line there. So those will be nicely screened from the neighbors. And then there's also standard vehicle parking for boarders to park their trucks and things like that as well. But past this point, trailers aren't going to be circulating down the road on the site. This is where they're going to be sticking to this area. So if you move on to guest parking area B, which is just below this exhibit, this is on the lower part of the ranch. by the existing covered arena, for those familiar with the site, and directly accessed off Dollar Canyon Road. We also are showing that sufficient sizing for a trailer turning area. Horses here would be dropped off from their trailers at those locations and be either led or rid to or northeast to the pastures, the existing covered arena, or trails on the site. There are vehicle parking spaces as well shown there, demonstrated with the functional geometry. Now on to Vineyard Operations Area C, which is the last exhibit there. Put this on here just because there's a couple of functional areas that we wanted to point out. We don't anticipate horses or trailers in this area because boarders will be dropping horses off at the parking area A. Showing functional geometry in case this, like a wayward trailer ends up down here, needs to turn around. So they can actually turn around and go under the overhang. I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah, we understand what you're talking about. We've looked at these plans. If you could speed up, it'd be helpful.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure we're being thorough for y'all. So,
Yep, appreciate it.
Yep. So we don't anticipate horses or trailers down there because boarders will be dropping their horses off in guest area A. So we've shown functional geometry in this location in case the trailer ends up here. The building will be served primarily by those Kubota utility vehicles, but you'll also notice in that enlarged plan there's a functional geometry for the fire department turnaround, which is per county standards. Again, I know there's a lot of information. Please questions so I can address those after public comment. I want to make sure we understand this exhibit. Going back to comment 4 then, so that comment covered comments 2 and 3, with 3 was being functional geometry. Comment 4, the documentation of existing grade and proposed grade, and you can scroll by all this. But you wanted to see the function of the grades on all the buildings. So we can go back to the plans and show how exactly in the plans. I gave you snippets so you can see, but you start with DP3 in the plans. Whoever's controlling the screen there, go back to the plans. And just go to DP3. We'll just go hit these quickly. Keep going, there we go. So this is, you can, oh, you went past too far, just DP3, we're going back, there you go. See the dashed line there, that's the existing grade on all 4 elevations there. Go to DP4, which I think is 2 clicks to the right.
You want me to go to D?
Yeah, DP4, please.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just going through to show them that the, keep going, DP4 there. Nope, that's DP3.
Nope, that's 4.
All right. Existing grade is shown on that plan, and yeah. I wish we had the option to control this. That would be my feedback for these meetings. It's a lot to communicate verbally. So, yeah, I can just say with confidence we put the grades on these plans where they need to be. There are 2 buildings on DP5 that is an interior conversion, so there's no grading proposed. So if you're able to look at that one, so I have a note that says no grading proposed, interior only. DP 6.1 might be hard to see because existing grade area is flat. I do have an existing grade shown there on the north elevation. And then DP7 is a existing structure, existing goat shed. So we're just substantiating that through this process. So there's no proposed grading. It's kind of sitting there as is. DP8 and DP9 both are now showing the existing grades as well. So that's on to 8. I think some of these must have gotten out of order. There we go. So there's the existing grade line. And then DP9 as well. And there's the you can see the existing grade and proposed grade lines on the elevation. All right, coming around the corner, the final comment is regarding stormwater. So as we worked with staff, we revised that we request this item be reviewed during the conceptual review after working with engineering department. I did in our memo though kind of address this just for the board's sake. So if you pull up that memo, I did provide the type of system we could potentially see being used as an underground retention system that would comply. That's in the last page of my memo, I believe. And while we're requesting that this be reviewed during conceptual review after engineering department gets a chance to look at it, I can kind of talk to this point a little bit, but it's going to depend on phase of construction. If within 3 years build all these buildings, then we have to account for all the stormwater, and if it goes over 20,000 square feet of new impervious surfaces, then we're looking at using some underground chamber system like this flow well system, and these can be stacked in various arrays. They're completely underground. Given the property and the grading conditions, we have plenty of space to put. I wanted to show you these because they're 24-inch diameter units, and they would not have any appearance above ground at all. This would be piped. Everything would run down into these chambers and be percolated into the site. So this will be something that we address with engineering, and requesting that the committee reviews at that time. So that concludes my presentation. I don't know if you have any questions for me now, or should we wait until after public comment?
I'm gonna ask right now, do we have any point of clarification? No, I think that was singularly, yeah, okay. Do we have public comment?
If you are online and wish to speak on this item, please raise your hand. Not seeing anybody raising their hand online. And then we do not have anybody in the audience today.
Yeah, we have no one here besides us.
So no public comment.
Okay, Jax, is there anything you need to add?
Nope, nothing that I need to add. CJ covered everything in his presentation, and staff has reviewed the plans and agrees with them to this point.
Okay, all right, who wants to start? Anybody want to go first? Yeah, I can see that. Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm go back to the site plan.
If you want me to, I can.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go back to the site plan for me, scroll up.
Thank you so much for providing
Keep going.
the circulation plan. It seems pretty complex, but given the nature of the site, I understand some of the legals and things. It seems like some of the things could be joined up, but this is, you know, an internal functional issue, so I don't have any problems with it.
Okay, could you go to the landscape? Because I don't think we talked about landscape. Whoa, there it is, that's the well.
This one?
Yeah, can you zoom in on that yellow and blue in the chart? Jax, this is more for you, but it's also for the applicant. That square footage in the top, yep, that 10,000 has to match the bottom. You don't get to double it.
Yeah.
And there's some other issues in there you're probably gonna wanna look at.
Okay, thank you.
They need to use the format that is provided. This is close. Well, actually, it is actually very close. But the indication for compliance is not on there. The new form that the county provides actually indicates what creates compliance. And there's 2 levels of compliance based on whether it's residential or commercial. And this is gonna fall under commercial because it's not, strictly speaking, a single family residence. So commercial's a little bit of a misnomer, but it means anything that doesn't fall into the first category. And the compliance factor there is much higher. I mean, it's much more difficult to reach, and they need to indicate that on there too. So you need to, they'll need to update that. that's my main comment. I'm assuming that the species and everything have been worked out ad nauseum with neighbors and everybody else, so I'm not even gonna make a comment. And I don't have any other things. As far as I'm concerned, this is ready. I mean, we would be saying come for preliminary at this point, so it's ready to go to the planning commission for us. Does anybody else have any other comments?
Yeah, just real quick, can you go back to that detailed circulation plan again?
Yeah.
Please?
There you go. Which one?
Area B and area A and B, I guess. Area A is, so when you come back, what I'm looking at is a giant expanse of open space. So whatever your landscaping will be in this area will really help with and the materials that you'll be using in that space for dust and heat will be really useful in understanding the function of this space and also Area B, because I don't see any planting in these areas to mitigate for heat and dust. So that is my concern for both of those, actually all, the vineyard area, Area B as well.
Okay. Anybody else have a comment about that? Denise, what I see is that they've got that hedge along the property line, and given the way that vehicles are gonna be coming in and out of there, I'm okay with it the way it is. I just wanted to state that. I understand what you're talking about, but it's okay for me. Does anybody else have a different opinion? We need, okay.
Well, I just want to support what Denise is saying in terms of, you know, when you have employees that are taking their breaks or lunch, everybody tends to gather under a tree. And so I think it is important to have some spots of shade where workers can gather when they need to.
Yeah, if I can jump in there, we just have a layer.
I gotta get my comments. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, and then could you, just again, the overall site plan, yeah, I just wanted to look at that. I guess this is a question, I apologize. That blue dotted, access road on the south there, yeah, that main straightaway there. Just looking at that, it's really made for speed, and it would be beneficial if there was some, it seems really close to the property line, and if there's some way to do some traffic calming, maybe if you can meander that roadway just a little bit to slow travel down
Okay.
a little bit.
Well, there's an uncovered arena right there. So that's not much wiggle room, but down here, where they've got the divider with the fruit trees in it.
So go back up where you're saying there's no room in the covered arena.
I didn't say there was no room. I said there's a covered arena right there and between it and the property line.
But that's the other person's property, right, though?
The southeast
Yeah.
of that.
Right.
It's that,
So I'm just looking at that. I know there's an uncovered arena there, and it's just appears to me that it's made for really quick exit. So if there's anything we could do to slow traffic down, that would be a comment.
well, what I'm trying to get from you, Denise, is what specifically do you want them to do with the
Well,
constraints?
In that vineyard, looking at the grade there, is there a way to like have the access road meander a little bit? Is there any place to meander the road? I guess is my question.
Applicant?
Is that JC?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I can address that a little bit. We're running up against our uncovered arena to the, would be the northwest there. Property line, fence, and planting area to give the neighbors some screening from these operations to the southeast. Our department has specific access requirements, and so we're trying to hold to those. So we do have a more narrow, this isn't a raceway. There's not going to be a lot of, like I explained, there's not a lot of public access past parking area A. Most of that roadway is used just to serve the vineyard operations, which is a private vineyard on-site small operation. So most of that dashed blue is actually going to be the orange dash, which is going to be those utility vehicles traveling down there. We just wanted to make sure that was sufficiently, it has to be sufficiently sized for fire department access. We do have trees on each side, so that's kind of the factor that travel on one side at least, and the fence on the other side, so those being tight proximity give you some functional traffic calming. I don't have a lot of room to meander with the uncovered arena. The north, the vineyard itself too, and we have a fire department turnout there just based on requirements. So yeah, we're trying. There's not going to be any street racing going on there because public is not going past, and public is a strong word in this case. Folks that are paying to board their horses on site are not going past that first area and zipping down there.
Okay. It seems like there's just a lot of expanse of unshaded area. Even just trees adjacent to that roadway would probably help slow it down and cool it off a little bit.
Yeah, there's an entire tree line to the south of that roadway. If you look at the landscape plan.
And then there's more trees, fruit trees that are as you go further south towards the ops building.
there you go. This, zoom in, please. This is what they've got for planting, See, it goes all the way along. And then that row in kind of that little divider, kind of the boulevard piece.
Yeah, I see that. It's, sorry, just not offering a lot of shade. So, and I
I
just,
understand.
it's very, so that would be my comment. If there's some way to add
Okay.
some shade and to control dust and,
Okay.
and slow down traffic.
Alan?
I don't disagree with what Denise is saying, although I don't think what they have there now is a problem, but I humbly suggest that the President, you, Bethany, when one of us brings up something like this, we poll the board to see if it really is something that we want the board to have them do, or just an individual member's comment. No matter who's
Well,
at
that's where I'm getting
Okay.
to. That's what I'm trying to do, is to do this, because if the next step, where I'm at is, this plan is at a place where I would be contemplating preliminary and say, okay, so for me, preliminary means we're pretty well locked in, we've solved the major moves, there's not a lot of things, there's nothing for me that's gonna impact directly, huge changes in the design. So what I wanna know for the rest of the board is, Denise has said that she wants them to prepare, I'm not putting words in your mouth, make sure. You want to see more areas, you want them to maximize more than they've done here, so that it isn't a straight shot, although it comes down and it does wiggle a little, but not much, and there's a fire truck turnaround that's required there at the end of the arena.
So even if there isn't any wiggle room, if even adding shade trees to the space does act as a calming for traffic and for shade and for dust. So even if we don't meander, if there is a canopy, it does start to create texture. And so people.
Do you have an alternative suggestion, knowing that they have worked extensively with the neighbors on
I
this?
appreciate it. By the way, thank you. You did a lot of work.
Do you want to make a suggestion for Bay Laurel, Leland Cypress, Privet, or the Bottle Brush suggestions that are going to be different than that? I mean, Leland Cypress, it's going to get big, right?
It's not.
Well, it's a narrow, it seems to me what they're doing is they're trying to not overhang in the other property and that's a narrow planting area.
Yeah.
I'm just
Go
interested.
ahead, Tuck.
I'd just like to say that I think that level of specificity is probably best handled at preliminary.
Okay.
I think we're all in agreement that it's a good idea to have that
Plant
planted.
that there and, okay. So with that comment, your comment, I just want to make sure that this goes to the planning commission very specifically what our comments are, because when the planning commission takes their action, we are going to change it.
Correct.
You know, I mean, there's no more wiggle room after that. It'll be locked and loaded, pretty much. I mean, there's some things we can't change, but there's not gonna be any whole big moves. So if there's something within your comment that you wanna be specific about, or are you just referring to this area? I know Puck had a different comment about some areas, maybe down, now I'm reverting around, down here by the vineyard, where you had your hand before. Yeah, that vineyard building over there on the left. You know, because you're gonna have employees in there and, various couple places are on site where shade was offered for people who are having their lunch or doing whatever outside. That's a good thing. I think, yeah, definitely, Nicole, we need that. And then we need Denise.
I would say public or employee areas,
Yeah.
there definitely needs to be another sort of layer of thought about shading.
When they go to the planning commission.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ditto, and it just seems like this new building right there, that there's no landscape plan around it. So, and there's no landscaping around the building, so, I would like some.
Like, I mean, what they proposed and all along was that they were just going to leave the general area, it's just a little grassy knoll right now. And they had not, nor had we asked them up to this point for anything around that building, if I'm right. Am I remembering incorrectly? Okay, so could you be very specific so that the comment can go to the applicant and the planning commission?
Sure. So I think what Hug was talking about is that another layer of landscaping near those new buildings for shade and for use.
I would just say shade. I think it's a functional
Yes.
production building. I don't think it needs a lot of little stuff that's not gonna be maintained, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And, let's just get some trees that they will take care
Okay. So we'd like to see some additional trees around structures that don't have any of the new structures that don't have them, where there's opportunities, like at whatever building, I think this is the winery building, I can't remember which letter.
Yeah.
Okay, does that capture it?
Yes.
Okay, and Alan, do you have anything else, Chris?
I've been to the site, I like what they've done, so congratulations on that. I guess my only comment would be to all these unpermitted existing structures to be validated, so I want staff to
That's part of,
make sure that they're
part of the process.
Those are my comments.
Okay. Okay, any other comments? Okay,
of. I support moving to preliminary after the plan.
after the planning commission, okay?
You guys, I'm gonna
Yeah, all right, so, Nicole, we'd like to see this project returned to us preliminary after, the planning commission takes their action. Jax and the applicant, do you have any, very quick questions for us?
I do not.
Okay, and.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Do not.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, I think that concludes this item, and I think this is the only item we've got today. How about that?
Can we stay here till 12? Come on.
I can talk with the facility and see if they'll allow you to sit in here and commune. All right. Nicole, are you ready to go over some, minutes?
Yes, I am. Let me go through them a little bit.
Nicole.
We can't hear.
Yeah, you gotta talk louder. You gotta mumble louder, Nicole.
Nicole, get those
Okay,
two
I can do that.
cans, you gotta get those two cans in a string, because we can't hear much better here than I could yesterday.
Okay.
That's a little better.
Can you see my screen?
She's waiting for you.
I made you a presenter.
Do you have two things as, like normal? Which one needs to be presenter, Nicole?
I only have one. Hold on.
She made you a presenter, I saw her.
Yeah. Actually, I think I already was, and she undid it.
Okay, here she
Oh, wait.
goes.
No, wait. Never mind.
Okay.
Can you see my screen? You don't have buttons that made by fine. So let me know.
We can't see you.
I that was sharing it.
Keep this up over, you know, Paul.
Okay, hold on a second.
Well, that's for
Try
me.
this. Can you see it now? Okay, so comments on board are what I think. So these are just what you, while you're still kind of coming to conclusion, which I think was to provide shade trees. But if you want,
Okay, so that should, Denise, jump in after I do this, okay? But I think what I said right before we ended was provide shade tree adjacent structures, new structures that do not currently have any. Does that sum it up? What's that? And then your public and employee outdoor areas, and I think you can add that to the end of that comment right where you have the cursor period. This will accommodate public and outdoor use.
This is testing.
It's a function of the there's several things, but that's kind of that's what happened on ranch. We got working ranch, so. Okay. Now, did I capture everything? Yeah. 7, 8, and 9 are not part of what we're gonna have, right?
Anyways,
Yeah,
so.
So you guys cannot rehash it, we're just doing what we
I
said.
don't get to retalk it.
Yes, exactly.
Darn it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You talk. Good with that?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that this reflects